Hi, I'm Luke. Today on Out of Darts, we are checking out another Adventure Force offering from Walmart. This is the Adventure Force Spectrum. Let's get going. It's no secret that the Stryfe is easily the most popular electronic blaster of all time. It is responsible for about a third of all the parts on my entire shop, and it was the subject on my book, and it's literally at every Nerf war. And the reason for this is that it's a great blaster. When the Stryfe blaster came out, it was only $19.99, making it an excellent value considering it was a flywheel blaster, semi-automatic, compact form, and ultimately a really great modding platform. I've modded probably 30 or 40 of these things, maybe more considering the ones I've sold as well, and it's a really great blaster. That being said, Hasbro keeps pushing the price up on this, making it less available, and now this year with Elite 2.0, we've been given a new version of the blaster, reshelled, that has solvent weld, making it almost impossible to mod without breaking the blaster. Now that sets the groundwork for this review, because Adventure Force is yet again giving us what we want. This is the Adventure Force Spectrum. It is a very similar blaster to the Stryfe. It comes in at $24.99 US dollars, and it's available at Walmart. Walmart has 3 different producers that make blasters for the Adventure Force line. This one is made by Dart Zone, who is quickly becoming a community favorite. The other 2 that do also make blasters for the Adventure Force line are Zuru Toys and Buzzbee. But I'm not entirely sure how that whole system works out, but I assume that all 3 companies are constantly pitching different concepts and ideas. Now, Adventure Force, unlike any of the other brands, and especially unlike Nerf, has really released blasters that we want. This blaster has no solvent welds. It is essentially a Stryfe in operation. It's a semi-automatic flywheel blaster with some additional add-ons, a little mini stock here, kind of a mini buffer tube style stock. Of course, it's not directly compatible, but they have again listened to what we want and released something that's a lot closer to what modders and customers want to see. It's got a rather snarky little rev trigger with, obviously, to me, is an intentional little smiley face. And I feel like this is a little nod to the community, but I could be mistaken. Perhaps it's just a cool design in general. The little smiley face smiles, and to me kind of looks a little madder or a little more angry when you fire, which is, I think, really fun. It almost looks like he's furrowing his brows or frowning when you pull the trigger and the smiley goes away. Anyway, I think that's kind of a fun little feature, and this blaster is going to be very popular. Blaster comes with a 10-round magazine and a removable foregrip. The foregrip features a Picatinny-style rail up front at an angle, probably about 30 degrees. And the neat thing about this rail is that you can use it in vertical form or in horizontal. So it's kind of a neat little thing. I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable grip I've ever seen, but it actually is an improvement over the Stryfe, which comes with nothing but a sharp front here to hold on. So comparison-wise, I think it's very good. Now, I won't say this is the most comfortable blaster I've ever held. The grip for my adult hands is a little bit small. Now, the rev trigger is the one thing that does sort of bug me a little bit, along with the mag release. The rev trigger is just a little bit long, and what this causes is my ring finger on my right hand, on my firing hand, to actually nick it by accident when I'm trying to grip, or kind of pinch the webbing here. Now, Foam Blast has already created a new rev trigger and a new mag release. Both of these are already available on the shop, and I'll have those links in the description below, along with future upgrades that we are working on as well. Now, where this blaster shines is, out of the box, it is the best performing flywheel blaster I've ever seen on shelves. It's firing at around 85 feet per second average in my quick test here. I'll put up some footage on the screen here showing actual chronograph readings using the Dr. Jones chronograph. I found this chronograph to be really great for taking accurate measurements, and it's been very reliable with very few misreads due to how the IR sensors work. So right out of the box, it performs very well, and as soon as you put the batteries in, you can kind of realize why. The Stryfe takes 4 AA's, which is 6 volts nominal to the flywheels. The Spectrum, however, when you open it up, is 6 batteries for 9 volts, and that's one of the reasons they're getting that little bit higher performance. A stock Stryfe will usually hit around 60, 65. This is hitting 85. So this currently outperforms everything from Hasbro in the flywheel standard dart division. That said, I ultimately think that we're looking at putting a LiPo in here and upgrading these. I'm working on cages as well, and I think it's going to be a very good modding platform at a very good price with exceptionally good availability in the US, because Walmart seems to do a very good job of stocking their Adventure Force lineup because it is their house brand. The spin up is a little bit faster than a stock Stryfe. It's definitely noticeable. But there is a noticeable lag between shots, and that is to be expected with stock alkaline batteries that only put out about 1 amp of current, I believe, for the whole system. So even just rewiring this to a 3S LiPo would probably actually give you a pretty good performance bump, even without changing the flywheels and cage themselves. As far as future mods, I've got a couple ideas going around. One of them is that this muzzle is way oversized for modders, and I believe this is, again, a safety feature, so you cannot get your finger anywhere near the flywheels. It's not unlike the Stryfe, where there's a pretty sizable gap here so that you can't touch the flywheels while they're running. That said, I do think modders would appreciate shortening this up. Probably not going to use that scope, and I'm definitely going to design, along with the cage, I'm going to design a foregrip for this that's sort of an angled foregrip that works in with the body really well. I also think that this stock could use some sort of replacement, but the coolest part is that it comes right off, so making an adapter to this is going to be pretty simple. So I'm picturing a buffer tube stock that just hooks on like this, and it would be an actual buffer tube, and then you could put a real buffer tube stock on there, because that will be about the right length for a more adult. This is a little tight. I feel like my arm is getting pretty crammed in here. So I think that's something I'll definitely work on. But ultimately, again, this is a toy, so the ergonomics and sizing is probably very good for their target market, which is going to be, 10 to 12-year-olds realistically, and younger than that too. The Stryfe is insanely popular, and I think this is going to give it a very good run for its money. I anticipate a lot of users buying these blasters as the new solid modding platform. It's going to take a lot to dethrone the Stryfe because there are millions of them out there, and you can find them at thrift stores, and there are a lot more parts, but I think as we build up the ecosystem and find more mod parts for this, it's going to be a really good blaster. And I have to say, Adventure Force, the line has been really solid, especially with Dart Zone's offerings specifically. And I just got to thank Dart Zone for making cool stuff that is much closer to what we actually want and not solvent welded together. It feels like Hasbro these days is just not interested in us in any way, and I like seeing Dart Zone listen to the community and give us things that we actually want. I think at the end of the day, this blaster is a 4 to 5 out of 5. I can't really commit to a full 5 because there are some ergonomic things I don't like personally, but again, that's just me and it wouldn't apply to someone that's younger or smaller hands than mine. Thank you so much for watching. I love making these videos, and we're working on revamping the content, so it's an ever-evolving process. I'd love to hear what you think of these two blasters. Everybody knows the Stryfe. Do you think the Spectrum has what it takes to actually become the new hobby standard? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, I'm out of darts.